Who's the most important person in their life? You guys. They would do anything to please you. Now, that's within reason, you know. I mean, I still want to go to bed at 10 o'clock, even though you want me to go to bed at 7, and I still want to stay home and play, even though you want me to go to school, or, you know. But they're still thinking only of you. And if you give them a reason to please you, and then you give them a choice, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but if you give them a choice to do the right thing, they're going to do it just because they want to do it for you. They want to see you smile. They want to see you hug them or feel that you hug them. They want you to be excited about them. How many people in the room have older children 6 and older? Couple. Yeah, 4, 5, 6. You have a totally different animal. They couldn't care less what you think. They care what their friends think. At 6. Now, does that mean they won't listen to you? No, it doesn't. It just means that the most influential people in their life already is their peer group. Okay, so you can expect that if they get together with their friends and you say, we don't jump on the furniture at our house, and their friends are jumping at the furniture at your house, they're going to jump on the furniture at your house. Of course, when they go to somebody else's house, they won't do it because they're really well-behaved children. But at your house, they're going to break all the rules because their friends are. That's a really important thing to know because now you can use that. Gosh, I noticed that Jenny doesn't, you know, she gets to school on time and we're late every day. Maybe we could ask Jenny, or what do you think Jenny does? Or, you know, how do we get there? Use their friends to help you get there. And if you've got teenagers, oh my goodness, it's too late. We can't talk about them. We have to be talking about teenagers today while they're 3 because I don't know anything about training a teenager. I have to tell you that right off the bat. I don't. I trained 3 and 4-year-olds and I had amazing teenagers because of it. Because I knew one important fact. I wanted amazing, polite, productive, interesting 25-year-old children. That's what I wanted. And I knew that if I didn't start when they were 3, I would end up with bratty, lazy, unproductive children who were living in my home. And that's not what I wanted to have. So I started when they were 3. I understood that my job is to parent. It is not to be their friend. And that's really, really important. I want it to be their friend when they're 25, when they're adults and they're productive and they're exciting individuals. I want them to love me when they're 3, and I know that they will. But I understand that means that we're going to go through a lot of times over the course of those years where we're not best friends. And it's okay. Many of you have heard me tell the story of what you say when somebody says, I hate you, you're the worst dad. You're the worst mom. To me, that's the day that I celebrate. Carrie's heard this story many times, actually. And she thinks I'm crazy, don't you? Admit it. That's the day that I say to my son, and I did, both of them, that is the best compliment you've ever given me. I am so touched because my job is to be a great parent and to teach you right from wrong. And sometimes that means you're going to hate me, so I must be doing a really good job. And I walked away. And my sons were like, what just happened? I think the first one was about 7 when I did it the first time, and maybe about the same age for the next one. And they just looked at me like I was losing my mind. But that gave me the leeway when they were 10, 11, 12, 15 to say, that's not my job. What's my job? My job isn't to be your friend. My job is to be your mom. And that means that sometimes you're not going to like me. I'm okay with that. Because ultimately, all I want is for you to be the best person that you can be. So let's talk about your 2.5 to 5-year-old, because they're the ones that we're predominantly dealing with. My favorite expression is choicing them to death. If you haven't started choicing them to death, today's the day. Is it okay to say, it's time to go home now, or we could leave in an hour? No. It's time to, we're going to leave for school at 5 minutes to 8, or we could leave at 8:30. Those are choices, but they're not the choices that you want. The choices that you want as the adult in the household are the choices that are acceptable to the situation. We need to leave for school at 5 minutes to 8. That means you need to be dressed by 5 minutes to 8. Would you like to go to school in your pajamas or in your clothes? Would you like to go to school in your underwear or in your clothes? Would you like to brush your teeth first or get your clothes on first? Would you like to make your bed first or eat your breakfast first? Are those all acceptable? Yeah, they are. Is it okay to say, would you like to play with your toys first or get dressed first? It is. If you know your child, that's a perfectly acceptable thing to say. Now, I have one of each. I have Mr. I'm up at 5:30 and dressed and ready to go and do my day. And I have, if I'm not up playing with my toys for an hour and a half, I can't possibly do anything else. I'm not going to eat. I can't get dressed. It's just too much effort. Okay, so if I said to him, do you want to play with your toys or do you want to get dressed first? He's going to say, play with my toys. If I said, do you want to eat breakfast or get dressed first? He's going to say, play with my toys. So if you know your child, you have to know what those acceptable choices are. Could I wake that child up at 8 o'clock and say, we're leaving in 5 minutes for school? I could do that to the one that woke up and was dressed immediately. If he slept late, I could wake him up and we went. Or whatever the situation is, but here's what I would say. We tend to run late getting ready for school. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get dressed, we're going to get teeth brushed, and we're going to have breakfast. And then whatever time you have left, you can play with your toys. Because then you've controlled how much time is available to play with toys. Now, the problem is if he's not the one running late, that's when you get into trouble. Okay? Because he will learn, or all of the children learn very easily that if you're not honest with them, if you're not completely following the rules, that they don't have to either. You can't draw the line here for them and here for you and expect them to follow this rule. You have to be willing to do it. So frequently what I would do with children like that, and to help me, because mornings, you have a baby and that's really hard, but is to do the same thing with me. Okay, you and I are going to get dressed first, and then we're going to eat breakfast together, and we're going to feed the baby together, and we're going to do this, and then you can play, and I will do the rest of my morning chores. So that you're moving at least in the same direction. If you still don't get out of the house on time and that's your issue, at least he hasn't dragged you back. And you haven't said to him, you're the one holding us up. Because he will figure that out. Timers are great. Timers are great as long as they're not punitive. Any game that you play with your child, and a timer is a terrific game, as long as it's working in a positive direction. Okay, we're all going to be ready to go when the timer goes off. Whatever, we're all going to do this when the timer goes off. I used to race against the timer. I'd set the timer for 3 minutes and I'd say, okay, let's see who can be dressed before the timer goes off. And that included me, because it was helpful for me. So there's no right answer in parenting. There's no wrong answer in parenting. It's what's your tone going to be 80% of the time, because every situation is going to end up being different. And when your child is going through a period of defiance, I'm going to throw myself in the middle of Target on the floor screaming. You don't sit there and go, honey, do you want to go now or in a minute? Right? Because that doesn't make sense. We're not going to pay any attention. You say, we're leaving now because you have chosen to lose control of yourself. You may walk out of the store or I will carry you out, but we are leaving. That's pretty authoritative, but It's not disrespectful. So there's you know, there are ways to do that, but you need to be very firm with something like that. And oh, by the way, if you've never left a full shopping cart, you have not lived. Because it's a powerful statement of how committed you are to no tantrum.
Mine is like picking up toys. You know, pick up your toys. Would you like to pick up your toys now? Or I pick them up, but I will put them away in my closet.
Whoa, that's pretty.
And it's like
Scary. Wow.
Just don't open
Yeah.
the closet. Well, it's like whatever I pick up, that means that you're not going to get to play with it again because you're not putting your stuff away.
But do you jump to that first? Or do you give him? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not much of a choice, Mom. What am I? I'm supposed to choose to put it away right now, or you're going to take it away. That's tough.
But they defy it, though. I mean, he does.
Well, and I don't blame him. I have to tell you, because what you're doing is you're not really giving him a choice.
Okay.
You're giving you a choice. You get out of picking it up, or you have to pick it up. But you're not really giving him a choice, because you're not saying, would you like to pick it up now? Or would you like to play with that for one more minute? Would you like to pick up this toy first or this toy first? You're not, you know, once you go to, there's going to be a nasty repercussion here. Now you've escalated it with him. Okay? That's a great second step. If you're comfortable with that. Though I don't know if you even have to go there, really. Because if you say, would you like to pick it up now? No. Would you like to pick it up in 5 minutes, or would you like to pick it up now? What's the difference?
5 minutes.
The second choice is the one they'd like to choose. Which was the second choice? Now. Okay, but anyway. All right, so would you like to pick it up in 5 minutes, or would you like to pick it up now? I'd like to pick it up in 5 minutes. Okay. I'm going to give you a little warning when it's 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes left, okay? And at the end of 2 minutes, you say, okay, 5 minutes are up. It's time to pick it up.
And if they don't pick it up, no.
You're going to get, no, I don't want to pick it up, okay? That'll happen once, maybe twice. Because what you're going to do is you're going to say, I understand you don't want to put your toys away, but we are out of time to play. So now you have another choice. You can pick it up, or I will help you pick it up. Not I will pick it up and put it out of sight. You can pick it up, or I will help you pick it up. Okay? Help me pick it up. Okay, fine. You being the adult, me being the adult, we're going to pick up one toy for every 10 your child picks up. Slowly picking it up. Oh, which one are you? Because what you're trying to do is think of the goal. What's the goal? The goal is to get him to do it. If what you do is you give him a choice where you're doing it, regardless of what the outcome is, you haven't achieved your goal. Because your goal is he needs to pick up his toys, right? So if he's picking them up with you or he's picking them up alone, it doesn't matter. I'll race you to pick them up. Let's see who can pick up the most toys. If you get hit by your child, no, I've seen that. If you get hit by your child, that's not your child's fault. The first time he hits you, shame on him. The second time he hits you, shame on you. Because he should get a really clear, or she should get a really clear message the first time. This is not okay. My 18, well, not even, he was about a year old. Patrick used to love to scream in my ear, and I would tell him, no, that really hurts, Mom. One time he decided to haul off and smack me, and I was holding him because he was an infant. I dropped him. Now, I didn't literally go wham, throw him to the floor, but he slid down my body so darn fast in a controlled fall that he was like, oh my God, what just happened? I said, you will never hit me again. The next time he put his hand back, I said, do you want me to drop you again? And he was like, no. I said, okay, so we're done with that.